Okay, so now I'm gonna preface this, Michael Jackson review with spoilers, of course, and I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible. Now, because I easily could say 10/10 as a fan, but integrity wise, review wise, I'm gonna keep it 100 on pros and cons. So let's get into it. Let's get into the pros. Now, first of all, score wise, I gotta say at least 8.5, 9 out of 10. Like every aspect that I wanted from it, they hit and went above and beyond. Now, one thing I will say, and it'll probably be deeper in my Letterboxd video review. Y'all can check that out tomorrow. Is when I plan on writing and dropping that Letterboxd Movies by STVR. But one thing I will say is the cinematography amazing. Like the one-to-one creations of influential moments, such as like him in front of crowds, even the Jackson 5 in front of crowds, the Pepsi fiasco, like that was actually very sad, because like there's literally, that was all reported. Like you can go on YouTube and see that now. Things like that, and the crowd, and like, don't get me wrong, Bubbles, even though CGI, they could have did a little bit better. Bubbles was fucking adorable, just adorable, and that whole aspect was also just very touching. From childhood, a lot of the acapella, like one thing I really like about the movie is there were parts where, of course, the song is the song. Even Jafar, singing, you could tell that's really his voice, not like a overlay with Michael, or just them playing Michael's track and it basically lip syncing whatever throughout the movie. It was definitely all him. He trained his voice for that. So you can definitely tell in inflections, in certain words, he couldn't hit specifically, but it was still beautiful. He still, especially talking wise, sounded damn near exactly like Mike. You close your eyes, it sounds like Mike's interview, or talking, or him just talking about the things he loved. Say, other than that, it was just, it flew by. It flew by. Like I think it's like 2.5 hours, I want to say, change. I got there at 3. I ain't get out to like 4:45, something like that. So, and I stayed to the end of credits, because the ending credits had just vibes, music all the way through. The theater was jam packed. I might post some of those on my story. Just standing ovation at the end of the movie. But like, that's why it's 8.5. Like all those pros, it was not a moment where I was just sitting there like, all right, come on. Like some biopics, they kind of dive into side characters, or other people that was maybe influential in that person's life a little too much, to where you just like, all right, you kind of dragging it. Or it's like they making up something to cause a little more drama, like in the Bohemian Rhapsody, him having AIDS and then doing Live Aid. That timeline wasn't even accurate. Like he ain't find out till way after Live Aid that he had the disease. It's just things like that. But so, with all that being said, love the movie. Amazing. He did amazing. Honestly, everybody did amazing. But let's get into the cons. Now the cons I will say are minimal, but they do take it down just a little bit for me, and it's only because it felt rushed at points. Honestly, you feel the rushing in like the beginning of the movie, because childhood wise, Jackson 5 alone can be its own movie. They could have made this a trilogy, from the Jackson 5 to his 20s and 30s, to right before the This Is It tour, and after all that, when he died in the scandal and, you know, the FBI raid and all the propaganda putting into the news and stuff to try to, you know, knock down his career because he wanted to buy Sony at the time. They could have dived into all that. This could have been like literally a trilogy. But I will say that is kind of the hindrance of it, because the Jackson 5 part was definitely rushed. It felt more like a music montage. It was like Jackson 5 song, them at home, Joe being an ass, Jackson 5 song, them on tour, Joe being an ass, Jackson 5 song. Like, it was like that for about 40 minutes, 30, about 30, 40 minutes. And then boom, shoot up, and he's young, 20, 21-year-old Mike, you know, and still trying to find his path. So that for me was kind of like a notch down. Also, the other notch down was his 20s. Like, in his that 10-year decade of 20 to 30, him having Thriller and Off the Wall and Bad, and we only seen like 5 songs or behind the scenes of 5 songs. His Grammy, like him winning all the Grammys, that was literally a montage blip. Like, they literally just showed him holding the Grammy, and that was it. It was actually more in the trailer of that, of him getting out, the red carpet, other celebrities, all that, not seen. The Diana Ross role, of course, I assume that will be cut, because for one, Diana's still alive, and for two, that's kind of a touchy subject between, you know, Mike and Diana's relationship and the Motown thing and everything like that. So I kind of was expecting that, but it still would have been nice for them to even mention it, because for them to mention that, they can mention the Wiz, because even earlier in the movie, they had a scene with Mike talking about, you know, his appreciation for Charlie Chaplin and how he's an actor, a writer, a comedian, you know, a singer, all that stuff like that. And that's what he wants to be. He idolized people like that, and James Brown for the footwork and different things like that. He wanted to do it all to the utmost degree. So it kind of sucks that they didn't mention The Wiz, especially that being my mom's favorite movie, and I have it on like regular DVD and Blu-ray. Used to have it on VHS, but I don't own a VHS no more. And it's just little things like that kind of took it down for me. But other than that, like I said, movie was amazing. Like, you gotta see it in Dolby, you gotta see it in IMAX, you gotta get that experience, because every beat, every note, the guitar riff, all that, you can feel it in your chest. And it was amazing. My theater was amazing. Everybody was singing, everybody was clapping at the right moments. It was all a vibe. But that's really the most I have to say, honestly. Hop in the comments, reply to the comments, make some more videos, talk about more favorite scenes, favorite parts, even cons, you know, what would y'all like mentioned, what wasn't mentioned, everything like that. But for me, amazing film. Definitely want to see the director's cut. I know it's at least like 3.5, 4 hours. But I'm here for it. I gotta see it again. I'll probably see it like 2, 3 more times. But catch y'all later.